Hey guys, how's it going? Today I kind of wanted to go over the biggest bottlenecks in the Altar of Rites for Season 28 of Diablo 3. So the Altar of Rites is the seasonal theme. It's depicted in the middle here. On the left is the offer materials, and on the right is kind of like a cheat sheet of tips and bottlenecks that I have potentially for each one of the offer materials. So what is the biggest bottleneck in this list of the offer materials? I have it highlighted right here, is the one challenge rift cache. At the beginning of the season 28, you will want to do a challenge rift and you'll get a seasonal cache. If you use this cache, it will expedite your leveling speed by quite a bit. I've seen a lot of testing. I've seen a lot of people doing practice runs. I've done some myself. If you use your cache and you play optimally with a necromancer, it will take you about 30 to 40 minutes to level 1 to 70. This includes if you swap classes at 18 with the necromancer. I'm not going to get into the leveling explanation, but the optimal way to level this season is 1 to 18 on a necromancer and then restart a new character, or continue on necromancer if you plan on playing that class. If you withhold your challenge rift cache and you save it for the sacrifice at level 15 of the offer materials, leveling will then take you approximately 2 to 3.5 hours, depending on play style, class, a bunch of X factors. But it will roughly add about 2.5 hours to your leveling versus using the cache. So if you're kind of like trying to figure out, oh, should I use the cache, not use the cache, that's kind of like the time save that you'll get from it. And the cache will reset in North America 4 p.m. EST on Monday. I don't know what the EU is a little bit later. I think it's Tuesday. So now that we got that kind of like out of the way of should I use the challenge rift, should I not use the challenge rift, myself, I really wanted to do this season without using the challenge rift because it's a different leveling technique that's normally used. But I'm kind of time constrained and bound this weekend because it's my wife's birthday party. So I will actually be using the challenge rift to level. It kind of sucks, but I'm just going to do it. But I'll still go through all the bottlenecks and kind of like what my opinions are of each one. As far as like ordering on the Altar of Rites goes, this is my first 15 points here, or 14 points here on the screen, and the potions at the bottom. Doesn't really matter the order that you pick, but I would recommend saving the plus damage and reduced damage for the latter half of the offer materials because you're not going to get as much out of it. Okay, so let's get into my list. We'll just go through each one of the offer materials and I'll kind of tell you what my tip means and what's going on with this list. So if you look at the list, actually it's colored gray. The darker the gray, it's like standard difficulty or pain in the ass to obtain, and the lighter the gray or white is much harder. So number 15 is the hardest. Obtain a weekly challenge rift. If you use it, you won't get one until you won't be able to get one until Monday, so you're literally time locked. But let's go through them. So at level 1, you need 10 reusable parts. You're gonna want to salvage the follower bow, scoundrel, and the Templar shield. You're gonna take the Templar's spear as your own, and do not talk to the enchantress, because there's a trick to be able to take the enchantress's weapon at level 11. It will be a blue weapon. You get a huge damage increase, so do not speak to the enchantress. So that's number 1. Number 2, a flawless diamond or greater, and some crafting materials. As soon as you hit level 18, any cache chest that you open will drop gems. So the easiest way to do it is, as soon as you're level 18, drop difficulty down to normal, and find bounties that are for Magda and Zoltan Kuhl in Act 2, and just go kill them until you get 2 diamonds, fuse them together into a flawless diamond at the jeweler. This takes about 2 to 3 runs on average, I think. And number 3, 1 greater rift key, 10 death's breaths. Be level 70 and start running rifts, picking up materials. Pretty standard. Number 4, any class-specific set helm. Again, this is pretty standard. It has to be a class-specific one, so it's a green. You know, whatever your class you're playing, sack it, and then you'll get that node. Number 5 is 20 Forgotten Souls, 10 of each bounty mat. So you're going to want to disenchant your legendaries, farm your bounties, very standard. Number 6, 1 Leoric's Regret, 1 Vial of Putridness, 1 Idol of Terror, 1 Heart of Fright. So this is the Uber bosses. In order to get to the Uber bosses, you're going to have to kill Act 1, 2, 3, and 4 Key Wardens. And then you can go to Act 1, what's the place called? The Abode. It's to the right of all the vendors, and you go in there and you do Ubers, and they have a chance to drop these materials. That one's like a little bit pain in the ass. That's why it's like a little bit lighter color. Number 7, I can't exactly remember. I'm pretty sure it's Kill Mathiel, and he drops the plans for this, but they might have changed it. I don't remember now. I'm pretty sure you kill him. I'm like 89.7% sure you kill him and you'll get the rest, the plans. Number 8, 30 Forgotten Souls. You just disenchant legendaries. Number 9, you're gonna run Greater Rifts to increase your blood shard limit. Number 10, this one is a little bit of a pain in the ass. You need a Ring of the Royal Grandeur, Flawless Royal Ruby. That can be a little bit of a pain too, but the ROG is the hardest thing to get. The ROG comes off of Act 1 and sometimes Act 4 bounties. Sometimes. But if you're just straight up farming it, Act 1 bounties. I should also say this about the ROG. If you look in the middle here on node 6, we have bounties ×2, so you're gonna have double the bounties. So this is gonna affect to 10 and 11. So I actually don't think that it's gonna be that difficult. So I would actually probably gonna shade this back to normal, and this one like slightly hard from where it was. Node 11, 1 Flawless Royal Emerald, 30 each bounty mat. So 30 of each mat. Bounty mat's a lot, but we're getting double bounties because of node 6. Just do it at like the highest difficulty that you can. That's not gonna slow your ass down. 20 Greater Rift Keys, 1 Ramalinga Ding Dong Gift, Ramalandis. That's just running rifts. 1300 Blood Shards. Again, that's Grifts, Greater Rifts. 1 Petrified Scream. Petrified Screams dropped off of Greater Rift bosses, so if you're looking for them, that's where they are. 1 Challenge Rift Cache. This is all the fuss. All the fuss. So you're either going to save it after the season starts, and then this is where you're going to sack it, or they're going to reset on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's where I live. Sorry, that's how I did the time. And then I think it's Tuesday in Europe. So this is a bright white, because this is the most difficult one, because you can't physically do it if you lock yourself out of it. 16, 250 Forgotten Souls. Again, this is just disenchanting legendaries. 17 is 1400 Blood Shards. This is Greater Rifts, increasing your blood shard limit. 18 is Ancient Hellfire Amulet. You're going to run Ubers that we previously talked about, getting the keys. And then each one of those bosses drops a Heart of Evil vial. And you're going to need a Heart of Evil, Vial of Putridness, and an Idol of Terror. Okay, so 19 is 4 Tome of Set Dungeon pages for your class. This requires 4 of the original sets to your class. And the example I can give you is Gears of the Dreadlands for the Demon Hunter. That's the newest set. This set will not count towards the tome, so you'll have to acquire 4 of the old sets. This is pretty easy to do. Just keep a piece of all your set pieces that you're picking up. You don't have to run. It has to be 6 piece, but you can cheat it with Ring of the Royal Grandeur, and you can just wear 5 pieces with the ROG, and it'll still count. The location for these is in Leoric's Manor, up the stairs, and to the right, back, and to the left. 20 is Ancient Puzzle Ring, and 50 of each bounty mat. Again, we have double bounties from node 6. Ancient Puzzle Ring, this will just have to be... You just have to gamble rings, I guess. I think that might be the easiest way to get it. 21, 500 Death's Breaths, and 300 Forgotten Souls. Again, just play the game, pick up your Death's Breaths. Death's Breaths, DBs. And Forgotten Souls. Shouldn't be too hard. 22, 1500 Blood Shards. Again, we're running Greater Rifts. Just increase your Rift level so that you can get a higher blood shard limit. Whisper of Atonement, rank 125. If you haven't played in a while, these are from Echoing Nightmare runs. I think if you don't even get that high, the gem will still drop just at a lower rank. And it's the equivalent of a like a legendary gem. that you can. It's usually used for augmenting gear without sacking the other gems that you use on a regular basis. But Echoing Nightmare run is from using the Petrified Scream in the cube, and you'll go in and you'll do the event, and you'll get a Whisper of Atonement. But you might not be rank 125, but then you can just use Greater Rifts to level it up like any other gem. Any augmented weapon, this is very easy. Just augment a weapon. I think the requirements, three of the biggest gems plus some Death's Breath. I don't know. The requirements aren't that hard. This should be one of the first things that you do anyways. So, all right. So the second biggest pain in the ass is going to be offer materials number 25, Staff of Hurting. There's multiple components, but to get the components, this is where you'll need to go, roughly. And then some of them have low drop rates. I'll let you know which one have low drop rates here in a second. So the bell from Squirt, you can purchase in Act 2. She's the girl. Act 1, there's a mushroom that can drop in Cathedral level 1, 2, and 4. I think it's typically a square room with 2 entrances on the southeast and southwest side. And there's fire in the middle. And sometimes bats come up the middle. I think that's typically the spot where you want to farm those. The Liquid Rainbow is going to be in Act 2, the Mysterious Cave, level 1 in the Dalgar Oasis. This is usually in the southernmost part of that map, and usually there's an event associated with it. I think that one's slightly higher drop rate than the Mushroom and the Gibbering Gemstone. So the Gibbering Gemstone is in Act 3 in Ice Caves level 2. Sometimes the Ice Caves don't even spawn, so if the Ice Caves aren't there at the bridge of... Oh man, my brain. It's been so long. The bridge of, I think it's Corsic or something like that in Act 3. You want to go forward from there to the northeast and look for the ice caves. And if it's not in that first area, you want to make a new game because sometimes it doesn't show up. And then Leoric Shinbone is going to be in Act 1 in Leoric Manor's Fireplace. And that also not a 100% drop. So you might have to remake a game for that as well. So in order of easiest to hardest for those things to get is the bell, because you can purchase it, the Shinbone, because it's just in an easy spot to get and higher drop rate. I think the Liquid Rainbow, then the Mushroom, and then the Gibbering Gemstone, or the Mushroom and the Gibbering Gemstone might be swapped. But those are all the pieces that you need to get for 25. And then 26 is 1600 blood shards. It's just running Griffs. So you just got to keep increasing your Greater Rift level. Okay, we'll just go through the Altar of Rites like real quick. So kind of explaining why I chose my pathing, if you were curious. So 1 through 9 is to get 2 times Kadala legendaries. 1 and 2 is also required for leveling. This also opens up the right Shrine Power Potion node, which is pretty important. Even though they nerfed it, it's still going to be really good. 10 and 11, 30% damage, +1 progress orb, very good. This opens up the left potion. 12, 25% boss damage, like whatever. But this opens up the middle potion, which is like a falter. The left one is kind of like a Oculus Ring effect. 13 is permanent XP pools for more experience. This is going to be a big difference at higher Paragon. 14 is elite damage. 15 is elite damage reduction. 16 to 21 is all going to be like plus damage, mitigation stuff. 22 is auto pickup orbs, which is not really a big deal because you already have some kind of little bit of orb pickup radius. Auto Death's Breaths is not really that big of a deal. Auto pickup and salvage is not a big deal until later on. Death's Breaths ×2 doesn't really matter, and resource on crit doesn't matter for the build that I plan on doing. So, but if you're running like a Meteor Wizard or something like that, you want resource on crit pretty early. So that might be actually something that you take in your first 13, 14 picks. So I hope these bottlenecks on the right side kind of help you out and get your mind ready for where you might get stuck and prepare yourself. Like for me, one of the bigger bottlenecks, besides the saving the cash or whatever, if you didn't know about that, is the running the Ubers and getting the materials for the Hellfire Amulet and things like that. I haven't done that in so long, so that and doing bounties. I don't really do bounties that much, so in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta do bounties. Oh shit, I gotta save stuff for Ubers. If I have to be running past a key warden, I'm gonna kill him. You know, those kinds of things. So I hope it helps, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.